Hey everybody, I am back again today to show another part to the Midori series of Traveler's Notebooks. This is going to be dashboards. Very simply, a dashboard by definition is your panel. It's a panel of the things that you use most often. For example, in your car, of course, your dashboard would have your speedometer, your gas gauge, all that kind of stuff, how your engine's running, all of that. For our Midori notebook purpose, a dashboard is a piece of plastic or something else, it can be cardstock as well, that we can put things on, and so it's become known as a dashboard. An example of that I showed you in the previous video was my washi tape dashboard. It has dozens of different colors of this washi tape and a big heavy box I don't want to carry around, but I would like to see what I have and use it. So I take all of these, not the big thick ones necessarily, but the ones that are, you know, narrower especially, that I like, and I cut them into strips and I put them on pieces of plastic. But what I did before I actually stuck the tapes on here, the washi tapes on here, was I made the dashboard. So let's make a dashboard. The idea is to insert this behind your notebooks. I didn't bring my Midori over here, but here's my notebook. Remember, we have an elastic strap that'll go down the middle of this and the middle of our book, and then we'll be able to put it into our notebook, and I'll show you that. I've already showed it to you. It's in the previous video. So there's the whole idea. That's the whole idea behind it. There's also these pre-made ones. This is a dashboard from the Midori company to fit into their traveler's notebook regular size. It's a zipper pocket, and the flap on it has pockets in it. So this is a type of a dashboard. This is another type of dashboard. This one is one piece of plastic. Actually, that one was cut, so that would be two pieces of plastic. One was folded and creased. The other was taped on. The tape I used was from an office supply store. It's masking tape. 3M, I believe, is the company that made that masking tape. And I loved it. It was gorgeous. And it's held up for years. So there's another idea. But let's make a simple dashboard. Just the idea behind the whole thing. I am using today chopping mats that I found from the Dollar Tree for $1. There's two pieces of plastic in here. Each is 11 by 14 inches. This is what they look like when you get them. And what I've done is I've already pre-cut. I'm going to cut, this is landscape, this is portrait. So I'm going to cut it landscape, okay? And the reason I've chosen to cut it landscape is because I can get my notebook size that I want this way and get more strips. So I've taken my notebook. This is just an inside journaling notebook by Midori, the Traveler's Notebook. And I used it as my template to decide how wide I wanted to cut a piece of this plastic. So the first piece I cut, this is it. When I laid it down, I just am using a mat that has inches on it. I laid down my notebook and decided I wanted the plastic to be just shy of the width of the journal, and I'll show you why in a minute. I wanted it just slightly less than the width, so I cut it. Turned out I'm going to start it on a 6 here and go over to a 10, so it's 4 inches wide. My 10-inch line actually has a thicker line on it, so it's easy for me to just see it, and hopefully you can see it on the video. This is just one strip 4 inches long. So I cut another strip 4 inches long. And I've got a little piece of this left, and I'm going to cut one more strip 4 inches long, and I'll show you how I do it. By the way, there are dozens of videos out there showing how to make dashboards that are much better than what you're going to see here. But I wanted to make sure I at least included something to help along the way and to show you really how simple and easy this process is. I'm using a utility knife, a metal ruler with a cork back on it. I think it does. It may not. I can't remember if this one did or not. I'm putting tons of pressure on my left hand so that it's pushing down onto this plastic, which is slick. And I'm going to be very careful as I cut, putting pressure downward and staying right next to the edge of this ruler very carefully so that I do not cut myself. This is a cutting mat, by the way. It's not a piece of cardboard or anything that's going to cut down through the table. So here's my next piece of plastic. These are going to be cut one more time, and this time I'm going to cut it the same height. It's not going to matter. So let's see how wide that is. See if I can cut it on that same mark. And that'll start it about 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I'll call it 3/4 of an inch left over here. And then I'm going to cut it on the 10. And to me, this is just my way of quickly getting the pieces the right size. I don't like measuring stuff. I usually make mistakes. If I think, oh, I'm just going to eyeball this and do it this way, I generally can end up with something that'll work. So I'm going to cut these 3 pieces all the same size. About 3/4 left over. Line it up. I do want this to be as straight as it can be, though, because it's going to go on my notebook, and it'll last me for a long time too. And I'm going to do one more. Line it up and cut that little edge off. Whoops, it scooted on me. I do find that this plastic cuts very easily, so that's handy. Okay, on to the next part. Very quickly, I'm going to round the corners. One of the corners is already rounded, so I'm just going to go ahead, and because I don't like to get poked by these little pieces of plastic, I'm just rounding off the corners. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything, but I just don't want to get poked by that all the time when I'm flipping through the book. So I'm going to do all the corners just because I don't want to figure out which ones I need to do. And it's not going to hurt if I do them all. Now, it's been a while since I made one of these. That's the second one. And then real quick the third one. And we're almost done. Except for the decorating. I'm not going to show you how to decorate it or how to use it. That's up to you. Okay, those are all rounded. Sorry about that. Now, all I need to do is decide how I'm going to want to put these together and how I want to use it in my book. Now, I can cut more. I had more plastic, but for this purpose, I'm just going to show the 3. I will probably end up making this one exactly like this one and sending it along to somebody whose birthday's coming up real soon. So I want to do the same idea. The middle of my folder, my dashboard, is going to go in the middle of the book with a strap around it. I want this to be very strong. This particular one is using duct tape. It has lasted a long, long time. Duct tape on the front and duct tape on the back. I'm going to make this one just to show you with washi tape, a thicker washi tape. And I may go back and redo that later with duct tape. I've got to find out what colors are preferred before I do so, though. I'm going to give this, I don't know, looking at it, how about, I'm going to give it 3/4 of an inch. That will allow it to fit behind, let's say, 2 notebooks easily. And the whole idea, this is just as easy as it looks, is to put tape down over those 2 pieces of plastic. I know it moved, but this is video, so I'm just going to do it. I may have to peel that off, but... And then I'm going to flip it, trim the tape at the bottom real quick. This does not have to be perfect at the bottom and the top yet, because I'm just going to come back and do the same thing right on top of the piece I've already put on. And this part I want to match. I'm going to just trim it off right now so I can pick it up. And then I'm going to trim this edge straight across with the plastic. Now, if that is not easy, I don't know what is. The same idea. You don't have to use as wide a tape as I just used. I did it just because that was handy. I'm going to use a narrower this time, and what I do is I just line up each of the pieces of plastic on a straight edge, and then I decide how wide I want it to be, because my next fold, I just did this part, my next fold is right here. It doesn't need to be very wide, it just needs to fold over. So my next fold, I'm going to make about 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to use a piece of washi tape that's narrower for this. In fact, I don't even need that quite that big. I'm going to make that 1/8 of an inch, looks like. It doesn't need to be quite that long. Oh, let's use purple. I hope that'll work well. Some washi tapes are better than others. This is a Studio G tape. And same idea. Flip it over. And this is a dashboard. You can put tape on it, decorate it any way you want. You can put stickers on it. You can use it for sticky notes. It can be used for anything. That's basically a dashboard. And that's the video. That was all there was. I wanted to show you. You can add as many sheets as you want to this, depending on how thick you want your dashboard. For example, this one has 6 sheets total on it. And it keeps folding in, and it has worked for me for years. I loaded it with layers of washi tape in each of my colors so that I could find it and use it and keep it in my notebook. And I do use those for my page edges to decorate those and for other stuff. So anyway, that's one type of dashboard. I may come back and show you another type later. This one, if you just look at it, now that you've made one, crease a piece that's double width and then add a smaller edge and tape it down for a folder. It's so easy and simple that even I could do it. So that's it. Just wanted to show that to you as an idea. Perhaps you might want to try it. Give it a try. Thanks for watching, y'all. I appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.